Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Okay, picture this. The world basically sees you as, just a reality TV drama queen. Everything you do is picked apart for entertainment.
Hmm.
Could you, starting from there, really flip the script and build a, $100 million empire?
It sounds kind of wild, right? Almost unbelievable.
Totally. But that's exactly the story of Bethenny Frankel. She didn't just break the mold. She, grabbed it, branded it, bottled it, and sold it back to everyone, completely on her own terms.
Yeah, it's a really fascinating case study, almost a new way of doing business because, usually when you think multi-million-dollar success, you picture inherited wealth, maybe.
Right, or an Ivy League background, connections.
Exactly. Or maybe some tech genius out of Silicon Valley, Bethenny Frankel. She was none of those things. Didn't have the family money, the fancy degree, the network, none of it.
That's such a crucial point. Her background was, pretty tough. She was a struggling natural foods chef at one point, literally crashing on couches.
Wow, really? I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh, yeah, driving this beat-up old car. But somehow, through all the public chaos of reality TV, all the skepticism, she didn't just survive. She built something massive. Going from that, struggling chef to landing a $100 million deal for Skinnygirl, it's way beyond a typical entrepreneur story.
It really is. It's like a masterclass in reinvention. And what she did have, instead of capital or connections, was this incredible gut instinct.
Yeah.
She just knew what people wanted, maybe even before they knew it themselves. And she had this powerful story of, starting over, which really connected with people.
Yeah.
So that's really what we want to dig into here. How did someone known mainly for TV drama turn all that media noise, all that judgment into marketing gold? And maybe more importantly for us, what can we learn from someone who built an empire by just completely owning her image?
Totally. I think, for me, the key is she didn't just get lucky. She got real, unapologetically herself. And maybe, just maybe, in today's world where everything feels kind of filtered, that raw authenticity is the most valuable thing you can have.
The ultimate asset.
Yeah. So let's unpack it all. Her money mindset, her career moves, her daily habits, the whole philosophy. Let's really get into it.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
Okay, let's start with something she actually said on Shark Tank. It really sums it all up. She just flat out said, money isn't power. Ownership is.
Ooh, that's potent.
Isn't it? And it wasn't just a line for TV. It feels like her core belief, the thing that drives everything. And it clearly came from, her own struggles.
Oh, absolutely. You can tell it's not some theory she read in a book. It's forged in the fire, right? Years of financial stress, people doubting her constantly, just pure grit.
Right. Before Real Housewives of New York, her situation was, pretty bleak. Working as a chef, basically living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, I read that when RHOY started in 2008, she had less than $8,000 in the bank. Less than $8,000.
Seriously, that's it.
Yeah, and get this. They paid her only $7,250 for the entire first season.
No way. For putting your whole life out there. That's insane.
It really puts it in perspective, doesn't it? But here's where she was different, even back then.
How so?
Most people go on those shows chasing fame or, a bigger paycheck right away. But Bethenny, she saw TV differently. It wasn't the end goal for her.
Right, she saw it as like a tool.
Exactly. A platform. A massive free national commercial for whatever she wanted to build next. That mindset was everything.
Okay, I see. So that explains the Skinnygirl margarita launch in 2009. It wasn't just sticking her name on something.
Not at all. It was deeply personal. It came from her own experience, seeing women wanting a cocktail they could enjoy without, all the sugar and calories.
Yeah, that classic vodka soda and a water bottle move.
Exactly. She saw that need, and she didn't just endorse it. She was it. She owned it outright, funded it herself, designed the look, lived the brand, totally hands-on.
Which is so different from most celebrity deals, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's just licensing a name.
Completely different. And then, boom, 2011, sells the cocktail line to Beam Global, part of Suntory now, for a reported $100 million.
Just 2 years after launch. Mind-blowing. Especially when, like you said, the media still kind of saw her as just a reality star.
But here's the kicker. The really genius part that people sometimes miss.
What's that?
She didn't sell the name Skinnygirl. She kept the rights to the actual brand, the intellectual property, the IP.
Ah, so she kept the name, the logo, the whole identity.
Bingo. Which meant she could then take that Skinnygirl brand and expand it way beyond drinks, snacks, shapewear, coffee, all that stuff. It wasn't just smart, it was visionary. Most people would just take in the big check and sold everything.
That says so much about her thinking. She wasn't after just a quick payday. She wanted Leverage.
Exactly. Leverage. She got that money is powerful, sure, but it's a means to control, to freedom, to making a bigger impact. It wasn't the end game.
So she reinvested that money.
Aggressively.
Ah,
Into real estate, media projects, her Be Strong charity work, building out her online presence. She put that capital to work building more assets.
which is such a contrast to, a lot of influencers who might just focus on sponsorships or quick deals that don't build long-term value.
Totally. She flipped the script. Ownership over endorsements. Equity over attention. Her philosophy is basically your name, your vision, your brand. Those are the assets that actually grow in value over time.
It's such a powerful way to think about it. Don't just make money for today. Make money that gives you more power, more control tomorrow.
Yeah. Are you earning just to spend, or are you building something you actually own? That's the question she kind of forces you to ask.
Okay, so moving on from the money side, let's talk about her career path. Because it wasn't exactly linear, was it?
Not even close. No climbing the corporate ladder, no backroom deals, no fancy resume opening doors. She built it all herself, often against the grain.
Yeah, it feels like her whole strategy was about playing the long game.
Yeah.
Right? Even when maybe taking a shortcut seemed easier or more expected.
Precisely. Building something solid, something that lasts, even if it takes longer, instead of just chasing those quick, flashy wins that disappear just as fast.
Okay, let's go back to 2005. She was on The Apprentice, Martha Stewart.
Right, I remember that.
She did pretty well, got close to the end, but didn't win. No big investment, no major brand deal came out of it.
Yeah.
For most people, that's like, okay, game over. Failure.
Public failure, too.
But she didn't see it that way, did she?
Nope. She was already thinking strategically. She called that exposure a resume on television, like proof she could hustle, proof she had ideas.
Proof concept.
Exactly. Even though her next thing, Bethany Bakes, didn't quite take off either, The Apprentice wasn't about winning for her. It was about getting seen, getting a way in, laying the groundwork.
Okay. So then, fast forward to 2008. RHONY starts. She's still grinding, right? Private chef, small delivery service.
Very much so. And her reason for doing this show, not just fame, she literally said it was for the free commercial airtime.
Huh. That's brilliant. Using reality TV as marketing.
Totally. Think about it. While the other housewives were flashing diamonds and stirring up drama.
Which, let's be honest, she did some of that too.
Oh, sure, it's reality TV. But her focus was different. She was constantly talking about her protein cookies, her recipes, her healthy stuff. Every episode was basically a soft launch.
So the audience wasn't just watching her life, they were watching her build her business in real time.
Exactly. They watched the hustle. That's incredibly powerful.
And that ties right into Skinnygirl Margarita in 2009. It came from that observation, right? Seeing women mixing their own low-cal drinks.
Yeah, noticing that gap in the market. Nobody was offering a convenient, ready-to-drink, lower-calorie option that still felt, fun and sophisticated.
So her product hit that sweet spot. Ready to go, 100 calories, clear branding.
And that core idea. You can have fun and be disciplined. It resonated. But again, the way she scaled was key. She didn't just slap the name on anything.
Right, she protected the brand.
Fiercely. Expanded slowly. Chose categories carefully. Jeans, salad dressing, hair care, things that fit the overall message, that reinforced her identity.
Right.
No quick, messy licensing deals that could dilute it.
So that Beam deal in 2011, you said earlier it wasn't an exit, it was like a fuel injection.
Totally. It gave her the capital to go bigger, turned Skinnygirl from just a drink into a whole lifestyle brand. Snacks, shapewear, books. And she keeps adding strategic partnerships, like the wine and mocktails coming up.
It's amazing how she stayed relevant and kept building while so many other reality stars just fade away.
Because she was always building equity. Forbes reported last year, June 2025, she's got stakes in multiple companies, making high six figures just from her content, affiliates, branded products, all without relying on some big VC firm.
So her wealth wasn't luck or inheritance or some tech IPO.
Yeah.
It was sheer persistence, seeing patterns no one else saw, and using TV as basically a distribution channel.
Yeah, the insight there is huge. The best career strategy isn't just chasing opportunities, it's building your own platform so opportunities actually come looking for you.
That really flips the script on career advice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are you building your resume to fit their boxes, or are you building your platform to attract what fits you?
Exactly. Big
Yeah.
difference.
Okay, let's get into her day-to-day. The habits, the behaviors, because this stuff seems, well, unique and maybe key to her success.
Oh, definitely. She operates differently.
Like the 5 a.m. thing. Picture it. Hamptons, before dawn, before coffee, before her daughter's even awake. She's already shot TikToks, answered DMs, jotted notes for negotiations, all by herself.
Yeah.
No manager hovering.
Right. That's not just a morning routine like you read about. It's her operating system. And the core of it is this radical autonomy.
What do you mean by that?
She refuses to delegate things most people at her level would absolutely hand off. Her voice, her brand's tone, even the camera angles on her phone videos, it's all her.
So every caption, every response, every makeup review, that's literally her typing on her phone.
Pretty much. That level of direct, unfiltered control, especially now in 2025 with everything so polished and team managed, that authenticity is maybe her biggest superpower. It builds incredible trust.
You really see it on TikTok, don't you?
Yeah.
Since around 2023, those unfiltered reviews, luxury versus drugstore stuff.
Yeah. No glam squad, no fancy lights, just her, often in her bathroom, maybe still in a robe, giving brutally honest opinions.
And it works. Things go viral, products sell out, not because of slick marketing, but because people believe her. They trust her judgment.
Exactly. That trust translates directly into revenue. Forbes said she's pulling in 7 figures a year just from affiliate links like LTK and Amazon. Because people click her links, they buy what she recommends because they trust her take.
It's so different from typical influencer culture, which often feels more about the look than the substance.
Totally. Her approach is basically, I don't sell, I share. Credibility is everything.
And you mentioned she treats her content like equity. What does that mean exactly?
It means every post, every review isn't just disposable content. It's building her personal brand capital. It strengthens her negotiating position for future deals. It adds to her reputation for being straight up honest. Each piece builds the foundation.
Okay, that makes sense. And part of that is being willing to say no. Right. Even to big money.
Oh, absolutely. She's known for walking away from 7-figure deals if they don't feel right, if they don't align with her values.
Like that story about the private label deal, where the chain wanted to change the Skinnygirl branding.
Yeah, they wanted to make it more mass appeal, basically dumb it down. And she was like, absolutely not. That understated, smart, sexy, honest vibe, that is the brand. Compromise that and you lose everything. Her rule is simple. If it's not smart, sexy, and honest, I don't do it.
In a world obsessed with scaling fast, going viral at any cost, she's playing a different game.
A slower, deeper game.
Yeah.
It's depth over reach, voice over polish, consistency over spectacle. She's not chasing fleeting trends.
And she doesn't seem bothered by criticism, does she? Being called too direct or too controlling.
Not one bit. She gets that being real isn't always about being liked. It can make people uncomfortable, but it's always powerful. Her unique habits managing her own digital self, being brutally honest, showing up daily as a builder, that's her edge.
So the takeaway is, consistency with who you are is worth more than just being charming but unclear.
Infinitely more valuable. In this world of filters and managed personas, what if your biggest strength is just doing it your way, out loud, every day?
That's a powerful thought.
Okay, let's talk decision-making. Because her choices seem really driven by this core philosophy. There's that moment in 2012.
Yeah, after the big cocktail deal.
Exactly. She'd just banked $100 million, proven herself. Then a huge company comes along with this massive offer. Put Skinnygirl in convenience stores everywhere. On paper, it's a total no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Huge distribution, massive cash influx.
Sounds like an instant yes.
But she said no.
Why? What was the issue?
They wanted to change the label, make it flashier, maybe appeal to a wider audience, you know the drill. But for Bethenny, that label, slim, understated, bold red, that was the brand. It represented something specific.
The women she initially created it for.
Precisely. So dumbing it down felt like a betrayal. It went against the whole ethos.
Wow. Okay, so that really drives home her philosophy. Don't scale if it dilutes your core values. Don't compromise who you are just for bigger numbers. And that principle has definitely cost her money over the years. Walking away from partnerships, saying no to VC money that came with too many strings attached.
Right, and taking heat for her direct, sometimes abrasive style. Because for her, it's not about speed or maximizing every dollar right now. It's about sovereignty.
Sovereignty, that's a great word for it. Keeping control.
Complete control over her brand, her message, her integrity. Even if it's harder or less immediately profitable.
She's talked about that pressure, right?
Yeah.
Especially on women to be less difficult.
Yeah.
More agreeable.
Oh, yeah. Less intense, more palatable. But Bethenny didn't get where she is by being agreeable. She got there by being crystal clear, unapologetically clear about who she is and what she stands for.
Her framework seems almost brutally simple.
It is, basically. If it compromises who I am, it's a no. If it multiplies who I am, it's a hell yes.
And that applies everywhere.
Right.
Business, Parenting, charity, social media.
Seems like it. She shows up messy, flawed, unfiltered, which weirdly is what makes people connect with her so strongly. It's magnetic because it feels real. It's kind of stoic, in a way. You can't control outcomes, but you control your choices.
Yeah, but with her modern twist. If your choices aren't building leverage for you, they're just reactions. They're just you getting pushed around by external forces.
And that clarity helps her avoid burnout, maybe, not chasing someone else's definition of success.
Absolutely. She edits ruthlessly, says no constantly. She's not trying to keep up. She's setting her own pace based on her own rules.
So what stands out is brand integrity is non-negotiable. Saying no is a strategic tool. And your identity is the foundation for anything long-lasting.
Yeah, and that key insight, every decision is a branding decision, especially the ones you make not for the money, but for your principles.
It really makes you think. Are your decisions building a life you actually own or one you constantly feel like you have to justify or explain?
Deep question.
Okay, this brings us to influence. Because her influence is different. She didn't really chase it, did she? She sort of engineered it. That's a perfect way to put it. Engineered it. She's become more relevant, more trusted over time, while others have just faded. How? By flipping the script.
What do you mean?
Most influencers sell a lifestyle, an aesthetic, a dream. Bethenny sells her mind, her perspective, her analysis, her unfiltered takes. She invites you to think with her.
Like on TikTok. It's not curated perfection. It's her in a robe analyzing luxury makeup like it's a stock market report.
Exactly. And it connects. That viral review where a $12 drugstore foundation sold out. It wasn't just because she held it up. It's because she explained why it worked, why it beat the expensive stuff, why she'd buy it again. Utility and honesty.
So her power comes from credibility, not just charisma.
Credibility is the new charisma. That's her playbook.
Yeah.
She focuses on loyalty, not just follower count. Forbes said, 3.1 million on TikTok? But engagement rates triple the average. That's huge loyalty.
Why? Because it feels like advice from that super successful, brutally honest friend?
Pretty much. And she guards that trust fiercely. Remember how she refused PR packages and scripted campaigns?
Right, she only does affiliate deals where she picks the product.
Total control.
Yeah.
That's why her voice cuts through the noise, even compared to people with way more followers. She owns the platform, not just the profile. She owns the message.
And it goes beyond just products, too.
Oh, yeah. She uses that platform to talk about financial literacy for women, why ownership matters, transparency in the influencer world, the whole difficult woman thing. She tackles real issues.
That kind of influence doesn't just sell products, it shapes conversations.
Exactly. And that's her genius, turning her personal story, her struggles, her wins into something universal. That quote, if you don't own it, you're renting success. That's not just a soundbite, it's a business rule she lives by.
So she doesn't just want followers, she wants people to think smarter, negotiate harder, own their ambition.
Her real brand is self-possession, complete ownership of self.
So summing it up, she owns her platform, message, money, builds trust through honesty, speaks to decisions, not just desires.
Yeah. In a world of fakes, the real power is being willing to be exactly who you are, on camera, in contracts, in life. So are you chasing influence, or are you building a voice people can't ignore? That's the challenge she presents.
Okay, building an empire is one thing,
Yeah.
but how you handle crisis,
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole other level. And Bethenny doesn't seem to panic. She performs.
Performs is the right word. Think back to 2017, Hurricane Maria hitting Puerto Rico. Total devastation.
Yeah, FEMA was swamped. Aid was incredibly slow.
Right. While everyone was posting hashtags and outrage online, which is fine, Bethenny acted, she chartered 4 planes on her own dime.
4 planes, just like that.
Just like that. Filled them with over 20,000 pounds of critical supplies, medicine, water, formula, flew down there herself into the disaster zone, partnered with Global Empowerment Mission, launched Be Strong. It wasn't PR, it was pure execution.
That's incredible logistical work, besides the generosity.
Exactly, using her business skills for disaster relief. And Be Strong has just exploded since then. Time and Forbes reported it's raised over $100 million by 2025. Delivering direct aid Ukraine, Maui, Gaza. She's built this system that's often faster than governments and way more transparent than a lot of big NGOs, cuts through the red tape.
So how does this connect back to her overall strategy? It seems almost separate.
But it's not really. It's about reputation. True reputation isn't built when things are good. It's forged when things fall apart. How do you show up?
And she runs towards the chaos.
While others might do safer, more visible charity work, She takes the risk, demands transparency, and just gets stuff done when others are paralyzed. It's become a core part of her legacy, her brand.
So that reliability in a crisis builds trust for her other ventures too.
Absolutely. In this economy, where trust is so low, seeing someone act decisively, solve problems effectively, that translates. She's basically branding problem solving.
Her long game isn't just about fame or money then. It's about becoming indispensable.
Indispensable, yeah. And you see it now with her angel investing backing brands that align with her values. Clean products, female founders, real utility. She brings more than just cash. She brings her network, her audience, her reputation for getting things done.
So the strategy is solve real problems and stick around longer than anyone else expects.
With integrity in action. What's unique is she uses her own money first, bypasses bureaucracy, and sees crisis response as building brand trust.
It really makes you think about your own leverage. Is it just about growth, or is it about how you showed up when things get tough?
That's the core question, isn't it? When crisis hits, react, retreat, or rise.
So, wrapping this all up, Bethenny Frankel didn't just build a business. She kind of rewrote the rules for what a personal brand can be: principled, personal, unapologetically female.
Yeah, no VC, no waiting for permission, using reality TV as infrastructure, which was genius, building something nobody expected, negotiating that massive deal, but keeping her name, her IP on the door.
But maybe the biggest legacy isn't even Skinnygirl. Maybe it's embodying ownership as identity. Owning her voice, her brand, her time, her story. Especially when a world kept saying she was too much.
She turned too much into her superpower. And she proved that the real currency now is trust. Not fame, not followers, not funding. It's that belief that you mean what you say and you live it even when the cameras are off.
She's definitely not a typical founder or exec. She's like a new model. Building wealth through clarity, longevity through loyalty, legacy through service.
And proving authenticity isn't just a buzzword, it's leverage. Powerful leverage. She shows that the strongest brand is the one nobody can copy because it's just relentlessly you.
So let's leave everyone with this thought. Have you ever been underestimated? Judged for how you look, where you're from, what people thought you should be?
Bethenny Frankel certainly was, for years, dismissed, underestimated. But instead of fighting the labels, she flipped them. Used the spotlight they gave her not to perform, but to build. And she didn't just change her net worth, she changed the game.
So the final question for you to think about. What part of yourself have you been downplaying? Maybe hiding? Because someone, somewhere, told you it was too much. Too loud, too honest, too intense, too ambitious.
What if? That exact thing. What if that's precisely where your empire begins?
Think about that. Because the richest thing you can ever truly own is yourself.